Gentlemen, thanks you for the time. It's been a while since we had a public conversation, probably long overdue. And without any delay, let's ask some questions, which I'm sure you've been asking your line of business quite a lot, but that would be of interest to my audience. The most interesting question: it seems like the Trump administration is not willing to provide any help to Ukraine. At least this is the public opinion. Does it really worth your time to do what you're doing?
Absolutely. Great question. Here's how I'm going to answer it. So I've talked to your audience before about what we're doing at the Institute, right? So I've been to Ukraine multiple times over the past few years. I wasn't embedded at the front, but close enough to see the truth. Okay, close enough to see the truth. I met men and women carrying this war every single day. As an American, I went to learn, right? I went to learn because I wanted to understand how this was important to America, right? I wanted ground truth. Ground truth. I came back to Washington. This was in 2023, 2024. And I saw a gap, huge gap. In April 24, I was encouraged by the supplemental bill. I thought we were leaning in as a country. It was a bipartisan position, but I also knew we were headed into a new administration in November 24. And I knew President Trump was going to return. The day he was shot, July 24, I knew he was going to win. And so the framing from our position trying to lean into Ukraine was going to have to change. It was going to have to change, right? The argument was going to have to change. And what I've observed, and I'm going to answer your question, what I've observed over the past 14 months is that President Trump has clearly been focused on peace. I don't necessarily like the tactics, but he is trying to bring parties together. He's trying to push Europe to step up, negotiate in the war. But at the same time, as you pointed out, aid's been reduced. And that reduction has had consequences on the battlefield, right? That's when Alec and I realized something. If we're going to...
You said reduced, but you didn't say constrained completely. Which way is that? Because overall perception that there's no aid at all.
There are facts. There are strong facts.
Let Alex answer that question. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So the perception is wrong because there are no new financing for military aid for Ukraine. However, weapons continue to flow. Weapons continue to flow under old PDA program. The way they do it is they reevaluate past shipments, doing some creative accounting, and they still continue to ship, not a whole lot, it's very little, but the weapons continue to flow under PDA program.
Also, let's ask you this question. When you say PDA, that means the weapons, used weapons or retired weapons from the American shells, so to speak.
Yes, that will be legacy.
Not brand new manufactured, but something already on the American supply. When you say very little, do you have any guesses? I know you cannot speak publicly. Is it half what used to be sent? Is it 10%? Is it? How does it relate to what's been sent in 2024 in terms of PDA?
Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic and let's be blunt. Okay, the Kiel Institute did a study recently. They think it's reduced by 99%. Reduced by 99%. Okay, right or wrong, they have taken the time to do this analysis. Just 2 days ago, Senator Blumenthal and Senator Graham were on a stage in Munich, and they were confronted with this situation by the Kiel Institute. Their answer was, you're right, we have reduced aid to Ukraine under President Trump's administration. And so then they were asked the question, okay, you've reduced aid, but is that your personal position? Both of them said, absolutely not. We know exactly what...
We'll get to their position, but I want to establish something which I think is very important.
Yeah.
Reduced aid or no aid, it's not the same thing.
Sergey, it's hard to say what percentage of PDA. Like if you remember, under Biden, there were large packages, like even $2 billion amounts. There were small packages, a few $100 million amounts. So it's hard to compare, but it's probably on the lower end of things as far as PDA concerns. Also, the
So PDA is still flowing. So PDA is still flowing.
yes,
Okay.
it's not.
What
much.
about USAI, the funds being allocated under the previous administration? Is it canceled?
Disappeared. Let's be real here, guys.
So there are two USAI money: the money that went under contract and money that was not allocated. As far as we know, the money that was unallocated is sort of gone. The money that was already contracted out, those contracts are fulfilled, and when they fulfill, those orders are shipped. They're probably not significant. What's also happening under new program Pearl, and this is not aid. That's probably where that Kiel Institute numbers come from. This is not aid. This is purchase. This is money from European countries going into this program, and then equipment is purchased, sent to Ukraine. So there are three buckets.
They were getting decent flow. Okay, under Biden, like it or not, okay, under Biden, they were getting decent flow of HIMARS, ATACMS, not Tomahawks yet, Patriots, decent flow. In my opinion, it was still a slow drip. Under Trump, the actual shipments of ATACMS, HIMARS, Patriots, hopefully Tomahawks, have slowed significantly.
But not disappeared completely. All right, so we're all on the same page, at least two of you guys, knowing what you know, that shipment is continued. It's not as much as was under Biden administration. I would strongly disagree that Biden was sending enough or close to being enough.
Decent,
but
slow drip. It's definitely a slow drip.
Yeah. All right, so that is clear. So let's move to another subject. If Trump would be successful in his peace effort, in your assessment, how would the American public accept that? As a win political or as a loss? I'm really curious what's your take on if, I'm not saying it would happen, but if that happened tomorrow or end of the year or whatever, is it Trump's win or Trump's loss? He made the Ukrainians to surrender or he actually brought the peace to Europe? What would be the general public assessment of that?
I think it's greatly depends on what actually happens on the ground. If Ukraine has to surrender some territory, but the war actually ends, or no hostility happening anymore, public will probably take it positively. If Ukraine is forced to surrender territory, Russia waits a few weeks and continues, obviously it's going to be a huge blow.
Right, that's fair. So let me give you a scenario. Ukraine ceded the rest of Donbass as Russia requested, and seems like Trump isn't on board with that. And Ukraine had to amend the constitution to guarantee the freedom of Russian language and this and that. With that, the fighting is stopped, and at least until the end of this administration for the next few years, there is no more fighting at all. Under this condition, is it a political win for Trump or is it a political defeat?
It's a political defeat, and here's why it's a political defeat to the American public, okay? Because what that does, that leaves our two enemies on this planet, China and Russia, and I would throw in Iran and North Korea as well, in a strong position. That will send an immediate signal to China, take Taiwan. Now, whether that happens or not is yet to be determined. But if Ukraine were to be forced to surrender, to capitulate, and that were the president tried to market that as a win, I hope that the American public would see through that. I hope politicians like Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal would see through that and not allow that to happen because of what that would do to Russia and China. It would strengthen them. And I think the American public is very clear. Unlike the president, Russia is our enemy. Richard Blumenthal, Lindsey Graham, just 2 days ago, they continue to say Russia is a terrorist state. We need to label them as such. They have maintained this position. 85% of the American public loathes Russia. 95% of the American public loathes Putin. So the president might think, oh, just give them Donbass. Let's just cut a deal here with Kushner and Witkoff. We know that's not going to sit well with the Ukrainians. We know that's going to put them in an incredibly vulnerable position. That's going to put Europe in an incredibly vulnerable position, and ultimately the United States. And I think the American public knows that. Now, what is unfortunate right now, in my opinion, this is not on the ballot. It's not on the ballot in November yet. I think everyone is just sort of waiting to see what happens in the next couple months. But if it were to go in the direction that you described, I think we would have a problem.
So what you're saying, if their peace will be achieved under condition I described, it will be perceived by the American public as a loss, as a getaway for escalation in the Far East.
Absolutely.
Fair? Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to my original question, Trump seems to be adamant not to support Ukraine, despite American public opinion. Speaking of American public opinion, Alec, do we have any updates, recent polls? Did it decline? Did it increase at the same level?
I haven't seen a recent polls, but overall public support is very pro-Ukraine and anti-Russia. It depends on the question. It depends on.
I'm curious about the dynamics. Is it declining? Is it stagnant? Is it increasing? Where are we at?
It appears to be pretty stable through the past period.
So that's the case. So I remember last time I've checked, it was about 60% of American people, 60 to 70% were in favor of supporting Ukraine.
Yeah. And I have to say that a lot higher percentage views Russia as the enemy. They may not necessarily be pro support for Ukraine, but they realize that Russia is not our friend. And that's
Okay.
It's not
It seems like there is a
much.
significant public support toward supporting Ukraine and against Russia.
Yes.
And yet,
I think the
it seems like
issue
there is
is not
support
necessarily the numbers. The issue is not necessarily the numbers. The issue is it's not really it's not as much of a dinner table topic today as it was, say, 6 months ago or 3 months ago.
So you're saying in the typical American priority list is issue number 15 or 17. That's the issue. Okay. But the question I have, why Trump adamant to support Ukraine, if you have any read on that, despite the clearly general public against it, against not supporting Ukraine, for Ukraine. A Congress, which we'll speak in a second about, seems like in favor of supporting Ukraine. Do you have any read what is the rationale behind his behavior?
Well, I think it's easy. Hold on, Alec. I think it's an easy answer. Okay. It's an easy answer. It's the people who are whispering in his ear. It's the people that are whispering in his ear. His son-in-law, Witkoff, Rubio, to an extent, and Vice President Vance. Those four men are the ones that are directing his position on Ukraine. Now, General Kellogg was on the team. He quit.
He quit or he been axed?
I mean,
this is the issue. But this is the issue. This is the issue. When Donald Trump wants to know something about Ukraine, what should I do on Ukraine? He listens to those people. Those are the wrong people. Those are the wrong people. The right people, we know who are the right people. It's the Lindsey Grahams, it's the Don Bacons, it's the Richard Blumenthals of the world. That is the issue. And that is what we're trying to do with this institute. That's what we're trying to do with this symposium, is unlock those men and women and their voices by bringing the ground truth to the table so they can clearly communicate to the president what needs to happen in Ukraine to end the war in a just way and to increase your own desire for drone dominance. That is what we are trying to accomplish. If you listen to Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal just 2 days ago, Lindsey said, we need to give them more Tomahawks. I wanted to grab him and say, you're absolutely right. What are you doing about it to convince the president of such? What kind of data are you putting in front of the president to lean in to your objective? What are you doing? And they did this with sanctions. They convinced the president we need deep sanctions on Russia. He greenlit it. They say we have 85
So you're
coast guards.
saying the plan is to build enough awareness, not necessarily public awareness, but awareness inside of the White House and the Congress.
Absolutely.
All right. And you mentioned a symposium. What is that all about?
So the Congress has indeed many of congressmen and senators support Ukraine. What they're lacking is a good plan. There was, in fact, as we know, we talked about it earlier, there was a demand from Congress to previous administration to have a plan presented back to Congress. We know that never happened. So congressmen, they support Ukraine, but they don't have any action assigned to this desire to help. And that's the gap we're filling in with this symposium. So our main purpose of getting this event going is we need to equip the United States Congress with an executable, actionable plan, something that they can take to the administration, to Department of State, and with that plan, United States is in a position to end this war.
That's a very important topic, I think. So you're saying there's a huge desire on the part of Congress, I would assume Republicans and Democrats alike, to support
Absolutely.
Ukraine.
Look.
But they have no plan to sell. Desire by itself does not create the action items. So they have no plan to sell, and you guys seems like have a plan.
Yes, absolutely. Look.
So what is the plan? What is the plan?
During the day, I'm a sales manager. I'm a sales professional. As a matter of fact, I was late for your call because I was on my pipeline call, which I do every week. Okay. What Alec and I have been doing for the past year is sales. Okay. We've been selling two entities. Okay. We've been selling the tried and true military leaders in Ukraine. We've been selling Congress. For what? To bring them together. We're matchmakers. Okay, we're matchmakers, and this symposium is critical. We are at a defining moment. Okay, let's be real here. Ukraine does not have time on their hands. Okay, this is not a political event. This is not a show. This is a working military session in Washington, D.C. We're going to bring frontline drone leaders directly into the room. By the way, the room is going to be in the Capitol building. Wow. With Congress. Department of War, Department of Defense, whatever they call themselves, State Department, White House. The objective is simple. End of the war plan. A plan that clearly communicates what is required to, 1, scale Ukraine's drone production. 2, close the parity gap with Russia. 3, accelerate exhaustion of Russia's offensive capability. And 4, and finally, and translate that into leverage for a just peace. There's a fifth element. The fifth element maybe is the most important to Donald Trump, the loop back. The loop back, the tech loop back, the knowledge loop back, the data loop back to what? To accelerate our own drone dominance position. We intend to put a plan in front of Donald Trump that has ROI on it. ROI, return on investment. President Trump, you do this based on this plan for Ukraine. You secure Ukraine, you deflate Russia, you deflate China, and then you secure America. We will not have to worry about El Paso events. We will not have to worry about what is Venezuela or Cuba going to do to Miami. We will not have to worry about our northern flank, because we will accelerate our own drone position and be prepared for the future.
So you guys orchestrating the symposium, the conference between their American policymakers, including the Congress and White House, and the Ukrainian frontline men, not Ukrainian politicians, but Ukrainian people from the ground.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Trying to broker their plan, which in your opinion, of a security interest to the United States and Ukraine as well. Is that correct assessment?
That's correct. Alec and
when is going to be? How soon is it going to be?
March 25th, 2026.
March 25th.
That's a Wednesday, 11 a.m.
From now. And what type of people you expect from the Ukraine?
Alec, why don't you describe our friends
All right,
from
Alec.
Ukraine?
Sure. Our friends and some of them, Sergey, you know too, they are commanders or they represent top brigades. I guess we're not going to mention names of brigades,
Sure.
but if you've heard of a brigade, it's on our list.
So and how many people you expect from Ukraine to attend?
We're probably going to have about 15 people.
50, 50.
15.
15. Yeah. We
15
don't
or 50? You guys
It's
saying
about quality. It's about quality, Sergey. It's about quality.
About quality. So you're going to have dozen and a half of Ukrainian top commanders from the front line, people who can
top commanders. Yes.
Top commanders.
Yes.
And what kind of caliber of people are you going to have from the U.S. side?
First, before I answer that, let me finish off. All this will be through approval of the Minister of Defense, Michael Fedorov.
It's a subject of approval of Fedorov. You communicating with him, obviously, directly. Right?
Absolutely, we're in contact with his office. Absolutely, because our men and women that are coming from Ukraine need his approval.
All right. The next question is, what type of caliber of people are you going to expect from their Congress and the White House?
Absolutely. First off, this symposium, the room scheduling is sponsored by Don Bacon, Congressman Don Bacon.
Congressman Don Bacon.
And I don't want to be cavalier or trivial about this. This has taken months to work through with Congress, months to schedule this. I mean, we are going to be in the prime Capitol auditorium, in the visitor center, in the Capitol building, a room that holds 450 people. Our intention is to fill it. This will be by invitation only. We are going to invite all, how many are there? There's 535 congressmen in the United States. We're going to invite every single one of them. We know that there is a press point on armed services on both sides. There's a press point on appropriations and a press point on foreign affairs. That will be our focus. We already have a strong coalition, a bipartisan coalition on both sides in support of this symposium. We have interviewed probably 25 to 30 offices over the past month to ensure their support of this. So our intent is to have a member session. There's a little bit of feedback there. Our intent is to have a member session and also a staff session. Staff session will include NSAs, national security advisors, 4 congressmen, also defense fellows. That's been our focus for the past year, building out this relationship. We've been focused on those 2 buckets I described. Our team has done an amazing job building relationships with the top brigades in Ukraine. And we also have been building amazing relationships inside of Congress, because we believe we need to bring these parties together. We need to be transparent and honest with each other on how are we going to bring this war to an end in a just way for Ukraine.
So let me stop you and rephrase the way I understand what you guys are trying to accomplish. You guys believe, and I agree with you, by the way, that the 1-year-long attempt by the Trump administration to broker the peace is a failure. And it's a failure because the Russian administration understands one thing only: a strength.
Force
and strength. In absence of that factor, all the negotiations will be a fiasco, as it's been before a number of cycles. This is cycle number 4 we're surviving right now. And you trying to change the dynamics on their Capitol floor in the White House, trying to bring a plan how to put the Russian at the negotiation table when they come to this table with genuine desire to finish the war. So they negotiate in good faith, which they never done before. And that plan requires the support from the Ukrainian leaders, not the politicians, but the real people who can bring the valor from the front line. And the American politicians, and you mushing them together, probably social occasions, restaurants, bars, what have you, formulating the plan with the hope to sell that plan to Donald J. Trump himself. Is that what the objective is?
Yes, sir. And no offense to President Zelensky. Okay. He's
Bill, you
done
and I know
admirable-
each other. We know each other in other, so you
Yeah.
don't have to call
No
it.
offense. No offense. But look, we know, Alec and I know as Americans, what works with our president and with our Congress. And that's what we're trying to unlock. What I would like to
Successful,
do.
you guys have a chance to break that stalemate we eventually have with the whole negotiation process.
Absolutely.
And change the
Absolutely.
dynamics of the Russian-Ukrainian relationship. That's the goal.
Absolutely. And look, this is well thought out. So I think it would be great for Alec to go through our mission and our 5 objectives.
By all means, Alec, go right ahead.
Well, we hope to. We know we will secure a congressional buy-in, so that they ready to take it beyond conversation. They will have a good plan that they comfortable taking to the president and advocating for that plan as something that's going to be beneficial for the country, for the president, for every American. This plan is going to be based on the ground truth, on the frontline reality, everything that we have learned, everything we can bring through eyes and experience of the military we're going to have at the symposium. We are going to talk about what America gets back as a look back. So, by the way, Sergey, you asked if it makes sense in this climate to advocate for additional support for Ukraine. Right now, as we speak, there's a congressional delegation in Ukraine right now, and they are meeting with military, and some of the meetings they are having today were arranged by us. We help them meet with the key commanders, and Brave One also is on the list of their visits they're going to have. That's if your listeners are not familiar, Brave One is a marketplace where top manufacturers meet, and that's where a lot of innovation is happening. And this is something that the United States needs as well. And I'm like for example, there's an initiative here in America called Sky Foundry. It is championed by Congressman Harrigan, Pat Harrigan. He's a new, relatively new congressman. He is a former Green Beret, and he understands what we're up against. So he's Bill, is he National Security Advisor? I forget the title, but
his legislative director, Colin.
His legislative director. Okay, so his legislative director is right now in Ukraine, meeting with various Ukrainians that teaching him what they know about the marketplace, about modern warfare, about everything that America needs today to be successful.
Yeah, so I'm going to put a finer point on it for you, Sergey. So it's a team of 6 representatives from U.S. Congress. 2 of note, as Alec pointed out, is the LD, the legislative director from Congressman Harrigan's office. Congressman Harrigan, your audience should go study him. He talks about drones every day. Okay. The other one that's important is the NSA, or the chief of staff for Senator Gallego from Arizona, who also is a Republican. Okay, we, the Institute, we have brokered off-agenda meetings for these men and women to meet with military leaders in Ukraine, and also to meet with Brave One, which is the tried and true marketplace and innovation hub for all things drones in Ukraine. So, because we know, because these offices like to brag, Blumenthal says, I've been there 8 times. Graham says, I've been there 9 times. We know how far they go. And we know where they get stopped, where they stop themselves. Our intention with this team, because we know them, was to say, guys, go off agenda. Go see a command center. Go see a drone command center. Go have a conversation with the men and women that are trying desperately to get drones to the front as fast as possible. So, again,
so they need to feel it raw. I got it.
So the beauty of it is these men and women are going to come back. Yeah, they're going to come back with more than what they would have brought back if they didn't have these kind of meetings.
All right, so I have plenty of questions, but I'm quite excited you guys on a trajectory perhaps to change the world history. And I'm not saying it without merits. I think that's what you guys trying to accomplish. And obviously being part of it, I wish all of us best of luck. But the question I have, what can I do to help? What my audience to do to help? Do you need any help?
Yeah, absolutely. I was prepared for that question. And I've used the word blunt. I hope the word blunt translates. We need support. Okay. We have real cost, travel, logistics, security, production, coordination with congressional offices. This is not symbolic work. We're not a nonprofit. This is operational work. Your audience, thank you. Your audience has been very supportive of us in the past, and we're grateful for that. But as you said, this is a defining moment. So if you are someone who cares about Ukraine, and I know your audience does, I see no more leveraged investment than this symposium. This is about unlocking drone scale funding from Europe and the United States. This is the lever that changes the war. And I want to add something. We recently took on a senior advisor. His name is Ilya. I'll butcher his last name, Serkin. He has written a book called Rise of the Machines.
He sent me the book, just arrived yesterday. I have the book with his signing in it.
Ilya is now a senior advisor for the Institute. And just a few hours ago, I had a call with Ilya and our policy advisor to do what? To write our end of the war plan, to get it going. This man is brilliant. This man knows exactly what needs to happen at the front.
He's been on my channel, and I was very impressed with his acumen. So
look, we need support. And if you cannot donate, that's fine.
You need
go
money.
To our website.
Besides support, you need money.
Learn.
What magnitude are we talking about? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands?
We have $100,000 budget for the symposium. Yeah.
You have $100K budget. So, yes. And you need it in the months.
We need it now.
I mean, within the months, you need it now. So my
Absolutely.
sort of pitch, I believe this team, not guaranteed, but I had a shot.
Yep.
To change the trajectory of the world history.
Yeah,
to
look.
Bring the plan to their White House with the hope that Donald J. Trump will understand a simple truth, which most of us understand already. In order for Putin to respect Trump's position, he needs to show some strength and get benefits from Ukrainian knowledge of modern warfare. Absolutely. And that plan needs $100K. So any donations will be welcome. You guys, I want to give you some money myself. How can I do that?
Very simple. Our website has a form, a credit card form people can complete and donate. Our website is ptsinstitute.us, and of course, we're going to give you that link to be shown.
Right. So the link is going to be in the description of this interview, and I'm basically addressing it to people who can afford. I mean, $10, $20 donations will be welcome, but I'm looking for 1,000 or 2 or 3. How much you can spare? I'm talking about wealthy individuals, because this is a unique shot to change the trajectory of this war.
This is a moonshot. This is a moonshot. Listen, we're realists. We've been on this for a while. We know exactly what's happening at the front. We know exactly what's happening in the interior. Okay, we need to move on this. We reached out to Elon Musk
to fly the Ukrainian commanders here and host them here in hotels and just being able to accommodate them. That's what the money is needed for.
That's most of the budget. That's absolutely most of the budget.
So most of the budget is to get here 1.5 of Ukrainian commanders here and accommodate them at the White House at the Congress. All right.
That's right. Look,
my last question. Can I come?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sergey. And if you're anyone in your audience wants to attend, send us an email at GTS for Ground Truth Symposium, GTS at ptsinstitute.us, and we will take your you into consideration. So look, this symposium is going to happen. Okay, it's going to happen. It is very
So no matter
official.
what's going to happen there, I'm excited to commingle with the top field officers
Yes.
of the Ukrainian army and commingle with their American politicians
Yes.
and hear the dialogue and be part of that historic meeting. I'm absolutely excited about it.
Yes. You should be.
Another question I have: press. You guys will have some American press, some Ukrainian press. What are you guys doing in this department?
We will have an exclusive team there, an exclusive team that we have vetted over the past year, and we will announce that team. We will announce that team within the next week.
I'm hoping to get some interviews with the members and for my channel as well. So I'm going there with my selfish interest.
You're part of that. You're part of that.
All right, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
If necessary, Alec and I we're gonna put this on credit cards, which is what we've been doing up to date, anyways. I've been in this too long to quit. But I agree with you. This moment matters. We're not giving up. I'm not going to go the way of Kellogg. I'm not going to go the way of Mike McFall. I heard him speak yesterday. His final words were, "I'm so sorry. Good luck." This is former Ambassador Mike McFall on his Instagram channel. "I'm so sorry. Good luck." So
you're getting the support from the Ukrainian staff. So the Fedorov will allow those people to travel to the United States for the conference. Is that
so far? Everything looks good. Now, and no kidding. We need Michael's support on this. I mean, I think we need Minister Fedorov to embrace this, just as he embraced Elon Musk 2 weeks ago.
Is there any chance he can come?
So we actually invited Elon. We sent Elon.
No, I'm talking about Fedorov first, and Elon is second. Let's take one at a time. Is there any chance Fedorov come?
I think he is a different level of official. He probably would come if he is invited by his counterpart in the
Okay, gotcha.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Elon Musk there as well.
But here's the thing. Before I go on to Elon, here's the thing about Minister Fedorov. We do not want this to be about politics, right? This has to be about ground truth at the front, right? So
fair, loud and clear. I hear you, loud and clear.
Yeah.
Fair. Elon, you inviting him as well?
He's been invited, absolutely. Yeah,
been invited. What about people from Underhill?
Great question. So this is a category that we need to hone in on in our agenda. What sort of defense tech individuals do we allow into
what
the
about
conversation?
Peter Thiel?
I mean, certainly Peter is on there. He's an investor in the space. Absolutely. Certainly Palmer is on there. Palmer Luckey. There's a guy, Perry Boyle. So Perry Boyle is a big investor in Ukrainian tech. We'll be inviting him. He has MTS Capital. We'll be inviting Green Flag Ventures, which also is a big venture firm that's invested in Ukrainian tech. We'll be leaning into the companies that are part of the new drone dominance program in the United States. 25 companies, 3 of which are Ukrainian, by the way. So we will be leaning into those kind of companies for support and also for attendance.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. I'm excited to accept your invitation, and I hope I will broadcast at least my impressions, maybe some interviews from the floor, and let's see each other there. Meanwhile, one more time. So far, Bill and Alec paying it from their credit cards. They need your support. If you guys intend to end this war, this is your shortest chance. Thank you, gentlemen.
Slava Ukraini.